Politics, commentary, entertainment, sports, news, and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
The president has asked for some money. He certainly can move some monies around, and we can handle that at the end if we want to. Again, let's keep in mind, with all due respect to the administration, they're one step behind. They should have seen this coming a long time ago. They should have seen this a long time ago because we saw those numbers increasing.
All right, folks, Democratic Congressman Cuellar from Texas. And joining us now is Sean Spicer, Communications Director for the RNC, the Republican National Committee. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
Good. Good to talk to you again. Hope you had a great weekend. A little surprising. I think the host of the show is a little surprised that a Democratic congressperson, albeit from Texas, said that the president was way behind on this issue. But I'm sure you agree.
Oh, absolutely. I think if you're down there, it's a different story. I think the problem with the administration is they sit up here in Washington, D.C. and say, they really don't have a complete understanding of what's going on down at the border, which is why I think you see people like Henry Cuellar and others just express some outrage and are concerned that the president hasn't gone down to see the problem firsthand.
Well, the White House said today they don't have a problem with the optics, and it was put to them that way. Do you have a problem with the optics of the president going to raise money in Texas but not finding time to go to the border? Louis Gohmert said the president's only interested in sucking money out of Texas and nothing else.
Well, I mean, look, this isn't the first time that there's been a bit of tone deafness when it comes to putting politics ahead of policy, but I really don't understand how you can go down there, have political fundraisers, make time for that kind of stuff, but not make a time to see something that is universally considered a crisis with this number of people coming over our border. And not just number of people, but it's the type of people, right? Which is you're seeing these children who are being sent from places in Central America up through our border, and yet it's as Henry Cuellar put it, we've known that this was coming. There's been a magnet that has been attracting them, and now the administration's saying, well, we can see plenty from Washington, D.C.
Yesterday, the Homeland Security Secretary was on Meet the Press, and David Gregory asked him once, twice, 3, 4 times, are these kids going back? And he just would not say that. Do you think that these kids, and when I say, I mean, I'm not talking about 1 or 2, I'm talking about any major part of them, any major percentage, do you think they're ever going back?
I don't know. Right, but I'll tell you, getting to your question, I watched that segment on Meet the Press, and I've never seen David Gregory follow up. I think it was 4 times, like the way he did with Jay Johnson. Get such a non-answer 4 times in a row. I was somewhat amazed that it seemed like a very simple question. And the way that Secretary Johnson was answering that question was the law says that we need to begin deportation proceedings against every one of these children immediately. And David Gregory then, as you saw, would follow up by saying, okay, so they're going home, and he would say, we have to follow the law. I mean, he wouldn't answer the question. He talked about the process, but not answer the thing. And that's what gives me pause, is that it should be an easy question. You come into the country illegally. I get it. We should treat all of these young children humanely and with dignity and respect. I mean, that's the right thing to do, and that's who we are as Americans. But the law is very clear that they need to be sent back to their country of origin. And I don't know why the administration wouldn't be easily able to say that if that's what the ultimate goal was going to be. And that's what gives me some pause, is knowing that it should be such a simple answer, but it's not getting that answer when asked the question over and over again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me ask you about the $2 billion that the president has requested. Louis Gohmert said, I'll give them $2 billion to secure the border and to send the illegals home. But that's not what the president wants the $2 billion for. He wants it for more, some might say, programs to take care of the illegals.
Right. I think the bigger frustrating part is a combination of what Congressman Gohmert was saying and a combination of what Congressman Cuellar was saying, which is, one, we knew this problem was coming. right? And so we knew it was going to happen. We've seen it start to happen, and really no action was taken. The administration now is saying, I want $2 billion after we didn't deal with the problem that we knew was occurring. And the $2 billion that we're asking for isn't going to address that problem to begin with. It's just going to deal with the people that came in. And by doing that, we're probably actually going to attract more people in. So I think there's some serious questions that have to get asked. I think Congressman Gohmert's onto something by sort of saying, if we're going to really deal with the problem, then it's money well spent. And if it's just going to take care of the folks that have already come in and potentially create a second magnet for others, then I think it's just throwing good money after bad.
Let's switch topics here for a second, because a lot of people think that, Obamacare, I don't know, that the problems have gone away. It's all died down. It's died down because it's one scandal after the other, one chaotic scene after the other, and it's gone on the back burner. But the problems with Obamacare are not. I just read a story today about a couple that had to separate. A married couple had to separate so they could get health insurance. And that's just one of many, a wide variety of problems that not only continue to exist, but they're increasing in nature.
Right. I mean, I don't think there's a day go by where you don't read or see a story on TV or read it in the newspaper or online somewhere that talks about someone who's got cancer and their premium went up, the drug's not covered, the doctor that they had is no longer able to see them. So it's a constant drip every day of one horror story after another of people that their premiums are going up. They're not able to see the doctor that they wanted. The cost for their medicine is either not is going to be prohibitive, or that the drug that they were looking for is going to be costed. And this is people with AIDS, people with cancer. And it kind of makes, it really does harken back to the question of what was this thing supposed to do? It's supposed to make healthcare more accessible and more affordable. It was called the Affordable Care Act, right? And it's done none of what it's accomplished. In fact, it's done quite the opposite. It's raised costs and wreaked havoc. And so I just, and frankly, in the case of Hobby Lobby last week, it trampled on constitutional rights and religious liberty. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out the good that really came out of this.
Yeah, well, you keep looking. But let me ask you this. We know some of us believe that good came out of the Hobby Lobby decision, which you just alluded to. But the left is running with this, now women can't have health care. Hillary went so far, even though she said it in a very mild-mannered tone, and she didn't yell or scream like some on the left have been yelling. But what she said, bringing up that as Secretary of State, she's seen countries where women's rights are deteriorating, or they never had them, and implying that that's what's happening here because of this very narrow, focused decision. Is the left going to get away with this? Is this going to be a motivation to the base come the midterms and beyond, do you believe, or are people smarter than that?
Well, I do think they're smarter than that. But, Steve, here's the thing. I fundamentally believe that the Democrats know that the only way that they can win is by scaring different segments of the population. So whether it's minorities or women, they can't appeal to a broad base of Americans, so they scare them. So let's take the case of Hobby Lobby. There are 16 types of contraception still available to anyone who works at Hobby Lobby. This is not about restricting access. This is absolutely a scare tactic. I read an op-ed by Senator Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire, where she tried to scare the people of New Hampshire by telling them that based on the ruling that they were going to lose all access to birth control. That's absolutely absurd. And I think that the problem is the left has painted themselves into such a corner by saying, like, we've scared people so much that we cannot win without them, that we've got to keep scaring them and scaring them more and more and more because we have no positive agenda for them. We've got nothing to offer, so we're just going to do this. But I think that as long as we get out there and continue to counter why this was an issue of not just constitutional overreach, but of religious freedom, most people are going to come down on our side.
Right.
And I think here's the difference, Steve. The fact when a woman goes in the next 2 months or 3 months to the pharmacy or doctor and start talking about birth control or contraception, the doctor says, yes, this is all still available and here's what it's covered. They're going to realize that the lie that was perpetrated by the Democrats was just that, because the facts won't match the sort of the scare tactics.
Let me ask you one more. Let's play that bite. I think we have time for President Obama. This was his Saturday address on the 4th of July, about the 4th of July. Listen to this.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your 4th of July weekend. I want to begin today by saying a special word to the U.S. men's soccer team. who represented America so well the past few weeks. We are so proud of you. You've got a lot of new believers. And I know there's actually a petition on the White House website to make Tim Howard the next Secretary of Defense. Chuck Hagel's got that spot right now, but if there is a vacancy, I promise to think about it.
And then, and only then, after that, Sean, did he mention our troops. I am outraged by that prioritization of his 4th of July address.
Well, I'll give him a little bit of credit from actually being in the United States, unlike Hillary Clinton, who spent her 4th of July overseas and then screwed up her foreign policy. But look, I would be with you on the priority of it, but you know, I think there's room in a bigger message to praise our troops as well as to congratulate the U.S. soccer team.
I agree, but I think you and I both would have done it in reverse fashion. Hey, Sean,
that's right.
Always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care. Sean Spicer, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, give me 5. Don't go away.